So this layer is completely dry, and we're going to have some fun now at the canvas. So the point of this part of the exercise, and this is what I call the freedom painting layer, is to completely cover the white of the canvas. I don't want to see any white of the canvas. And the reason for that is the white of the canvas is literally just a gesso. It is chalky, it is white, it gives you the tooth and the grit in your canvas so that your paint can adhere to it. But this part of the painting is also for you to have fun. It is for you to get a little bit more acquainted with the paint, acrylic paint, and your brush, and how it feels to load your brush and to apply color to the canvas without worrying about creating an owl right now, because we're not there yet. We are just embodying the attitude and the attributes of the owl by playing at the canvas with awareness. So I want you to pick 3 of your favorite colors. I've chosen a beautiful fluoro pink, a ultramarine blue, and a cadmium yellow. Okay, so I like to sort of represent some of the primary colors in this part of the painting. What is a primary color? It is yellow, blue, and red. So any yellow, any blue, any kind of red will be a good combination for this part of the painting. Okay, so even if a color is not particularly your favorite, I always encourage my participants to use that, because there is something of that color that maybe you have been avoiding, and there is a connection that can be made with some colors that we avoid and why we also love some colors. And that's something that I could discuss as we go forward. Right. So for this freedom painting layer, and we're still dealing with layer number 1 of the 4-layer series. Okay, so this is all still part of the first layer. We are going to create patterns on our beautiful canvas, and this pattern is something that you can repeat over and over and over. And while you are repeating this pattern all over your canvas, I want you to exercise that positive affirmation of yours, because this is literally encapsulating that positive vibration on your canvas as you are making brush marks. So later, when you hang this painting in your study, in your office, or somewhere where it has some meaning for you, you always are able to draw on the positive effect that this experience has had in your life. Okay, so I'm going to be making circles. Simple, easy, they don't have to be perfect circles, just circle-like shapes. And I'm going to combine all 3 of my colors in my design. So I normally say start with one color and go as far as you can and finish up that color, and then switch to the next one. So let's start. I'm going to use my yellow, and I'm just going to make beautiful circles. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be in alignment. Just going to continue making circles with the same brush that I've been working with from the beginning. And I'm just going to place these circles all over my canvas. Big ones, small ones, squiggly ones, imperfect ones, it doesn't matter. You will hear me say this a lot. There is no right or wrong in a creative painting class. So just enjoy making your marks on the canvas. And notice what is happening with the color. you will see if you're also using a yellow, that the yellow is quite transparent and that the underneath colors are still shining through. So that is teaching you something about acrylic paint while you are playing at the canvas. Can you see that the underneath layer is completely dry and that the colors aren't smearing and mixing? Your color, your yellow for example, is staying yellow on top. Because if the underneath color was not dry, you would create what we call mud. With the turquoise, it would create a different kind of green. With the purple, it would create maybe a gray or a brown. Because there is a kind of magic that happens when you mix colors with each other or into each other. You're using the toe of your brush, which is the tip of your brush, to create the shape on your canvas or the line. Big circles, small circles. So you could maybe decide to work with triangles or squares or spirals. Whatever shape you like. Maybe you like crosses or zigzag lines or just dots. Anything goes. The idea though is to stick to one. Repeat one shape in one color, because that helps your left brain to remain quiet and your right brain to continue exploring and playing at the canvas. So you're not trying you're not overthinking, you're not being critical. And if you find that your mind does get critical, like what are you doing, you're making a mess, just take a deep breath, become aware of that critical voice, ask yourself, whose voice am I hearing? Is it your mother's? Is it a teacher? Is it your own? Is it a peer? And just tell them it's okay. We are just playing. We are just playing at the canvas today. This is not serious. We are not ending world hunger. We are not fabricating some kind of hectic formula that will change our world. You are just present at the canvas. Okay, so I've used up all my yellow. I'm going to switch to my pink now. It's run into my blue a little bit, but that's fine. Rinse out your brush vigorously. I want to hear the water. And then wipe your brush on a rag so that your brush is clean. And then switch to the second of your favorite colors and repeat the whole process. So I'm going to try and make a little circle inside each of my yellow circles. And again, notice what happens to the underneath layer And you can see my circles aren't absolutely perfect. And I'm making sure that there's something happening on the perimeter of my canvas as well. And if my previous color wasn't completely dry, that's fine, because the yellow and the magenta creates a pretty coral kind of orange. So if I feel I've got enough on the inside, I'm going to do some on the outside. And just explore and see what happens. If your paint feels a bit thick to you, add a drop of water to your brush and then take the water to your paint, and you will see that it improves the fluidity of your paint. Some of the circles I'll just create a little dot. Whatever comes to you in the process, that's cool. Are you guys having fun? Right, I feel I've got enough pink on my canvas, and you can see where some areas where the pink crosses over the yellow creates a beautiful orangey coral color. So you're beginning to create a beautiful combination of colors on your canvas. So we are still playing. I'm going to switch now to my blue. I've got some pink left, so I'm going to mix the two together. That little bit of pink is going to just almost make this deep indigo purple. So I wanted to just use this moment to talk about correctly loading your brush. So I'm going to rinse off my brush quickly for you. I find that a lot of people like to dip the brush right into the middle of the paint and scoop up paint like a dollop of yogurt. That could be challenging a bit later in your painting. So I like to just drag my brush through the paint and what I call like a landing strip, and correctly load the belly of your brush. Can you see that the paint is sitting in the belly, in the center of the brush? And that carries the paint forward to the tip as you paint. So that is a way to correctly load your brush. So that becomes a little bit easier when you want to paint later. So it doesn't matter what brush you use, that's a very good technique that you can learn. So we'll continue to play at the canvas. I'm continuing to make circles. And as I draw my circles, I'm just repeating in my mind, I'm safe, I'm secure, I'm protected, I am blessed. All of the positive things that I want to infuse this canvas with. Don't forget the top of your canvas, all the corners, and always make sure that there's stuff happening on the perimeter of your canvas as well. So I'm going to make a few dots here and there. So you can see this is definitely not about perfection. It's really just very expressionistic. Right, that is quite nice. There's some contrast, there's some movement, there's some texture, there's some beautiful color, and you can begin to see how all of this is layering one layer on top of the other, and we're going to create a beautiful, beautiful painting out of all of this texture that we are placing on this freedom layer. So I want you to use up all the paint on your palette, using one color at a time, repeating your pattern that you've chosen to play with. And then when you are done, I want you to make sure that this layer is completely dry, because in layer number 2, we are going to be blocking our owl. I'll see you for that session.